for being patient. Sorry I'm late. I had to bring my son over to Londonderry real quick. So we'll open up the meeting, call to order, and I guess we'll have consideration of minutes, which we got almost
Right, so
like a week later, right?
need to consider 2 minutes now.
Okay.
So we have, I sent them a couple weeks ago. Did everyone review that one? And then we need to review, I think, the one back in July, was it?
It wasn't a meeting in July, so
Right.
He
He might
I
have
don't know,
done.
Matt put it down. I have to go back and look at the minutes, so maybe we just push it off until the next one.
it looked
But we
like-
missed a set of minutes that we didn't approve.
So in June, the June minutes we didn't approve?
Yeah, let me go back and see his, I put it so I could find it.
It was sent by you to us, right?
I don't want to delay it, so we can move on.
Yeah, it was sent on 8/8. Well, that's the 7/10 meeting, even though there was no meeting.
So it was June that was approved and July that we didn't approve, and that's what you sent along.
Is that what it is, June?
So,
Okay.
So June was approved.
June was approved? What did he
'Cause
say?
This one's, I'm looking at the July 10th.
Scroll down though, there was one that it's at the, I
Yeah.
thought there was something we had to approve. I have to find it. All right, don't delay it.
Okay.
Don't worry about
So
it.
we'll bring that
So
up.
everyone saw the minutes from the last meeting.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So want to make a motion on that one, or
Sure, I'll make a motion
what
to,
was the date on it again?
Um,
August.
The meeting was 8/14.
14.
All right.
August 14th.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 14th.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So it's approved. Most notes are approved August 14th. All right, our next item is public input. It looks like we have a bunch of people here for input. So I don't know who is here first or who would like to come up first.
So
Break the ice.
I have a guess that we're talking about the library.
I'm guessing this is the,
nope. So this one I put on. This is a Girl Scout troop request, and I put it as birdhouses. It's actually bat houses.
Oh, it's bat houses. I
Yeah.
thought it was the little library houses. Okay.
So if we could ask girls from the Girl Scout troop, including Ms. Ames, to come to the front table to make a request.
Right here?
Yes, please. You just say your name and where you live in town.
With you. My name is Grace Ames, 21 Moose Hollow. Is that better?
Thank you.
We're doing bat houses. We're hoping to do them at Berry Pond. Berry Pond, I don't know how to say it. But we think that there should be bat houses just set up around the pond or something like that. So we think that bats have a much bigger purpose than people give them credit for. They eat the mosquitoes, which are becoming a problem now. They eat moths, which can eat your clothes, as she pointed out. We just think that they have a bigger, meaning than we give them credit for. So, we also were talking about the Bronze Award. Did you want to come here?
The Bronze Award
Yes.
for Girl Scouts. We need it to complete our junior year of Girl Scouts so we can move to cadets. And the final due date for this project is September 30th. We need it done by then
Yeah.
so we can hang up the bat houses.
So you have the bat houses done by September 30th, or?
Yes.
Wow, you're gonna have to be busy.
how many bat houses are you looking to install?
Maybe 10.
10. 5 through 10 or something.
5 to 10, and you're talking by the playground area or?
No, like around. Kind of around the playground area and kind of around the pond too.
Okay.
It can just be like one right there, one up there, so they can just move around.
And are you girls building them?
Yeah.
So you're building them, you're going to install them all around? Okay, great. I'm sorry, what does a bat house look like?
So it's a box and it has like, it's hollow and it comes, like the side comes out and the bats crawl in and like attach their feet to the wood on the inside so that they can sleep in there.
Okay,
And
so they're just
also-
protected from prey? Is that what the plant, I mean, they're going to eat the mosquitoes?
It kind of like goes inward.
Yep.
I think it can be built on the bottom too.
Yeah, like a box.
Yeah, so it's like a box and then they can just go in.
Like
and
a
I think it would be
birdhouse.
harder for
Yeah,
like
except it
birds or something that would try and eat them to fit through that hole.
Okay.
Bats can
foxes.
spread out and go through that, but birds can just suck in and go through. So
I definitely know we have bats there because I've seen them in Talent. They get stuck in Talent, they can't get out.
Yeah.
So
Give them a better home and
it
then
would be a
they'll
much better
move
home
out.
than Talent. They suffocate. No food. That's great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So we need to make a motion or, I guess, yeah, well, let's make a motion and we can have a discussion on it.
So I'll make a motion to allow the local Girl Scout troop to hang up, give or take 10 bat houses within the Dara Pond area on the playground or down by the water within the parameters of town property
Okay.
by the end of the month.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? The only thing I would say is maybe we put it conditional because I think we may have to go through the mosquito control district to get the final okay because that's something that might fall into their purview. I'm not exactly sure. It's not chemical spraying or anything of that nature, but any mosquito or tick control, I think we're supposed to just sort of coordinate it with them and let them know. I think it's more of a formality, but maybe just sort of fill them in and they might be able to actually help you with the placement and say, this would be a good location. So,
I'll offer to reach out to them this week then to give them a heads up and see if there's anything else they need us to do before
okay.
that's moved ahead. But
So what are those bird houses at the new, I guess, boat
River
launch?
access?
Or
Yeah.
those are bird houses?
it's my understanding. Yep.
Okay. I didn't know what kind of, there's a bunch of them. I didn't know what they were. Mockingbird, hummingbirds. I didn't know if they were hummingbird houses, but okay. I think it's great. It's a great idea.
Any other discussion? Any thoughts? All right. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So it's approved 4-0-0. I guess Batman will be happy.
thank you.
Yeah, the Beth will be very happy.
Thank you, girls.
Yes. And the people that aren't getting bitten by mosquitoes will be happy. All right. Who would be next?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So my name's Andrew Ruggles. I live at 54 Century Lane.
And I'm Rachel Barclay. I live at 14 McQueston Circle. And we're here to talk about the playground at Dara. We've gotten together with a lot of other people in the community to talk about the safety and the different equipment at Dara and to improve it, essentially. So we have a little presentation here of the different aspects of what we're like to implement in the playground and the pricing that we've come up with for equipment.
All right. So yeah, Rachel reached out on the What's Up page, roughly a month ago, and she basically put it out there to families that go to Dara with their kids, and I happen to be one of them. So I bring my boys there probably twice a week now, and we noticed like that there was some stuff that could possibly be improved down there. So just kind of going through, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the site, but I think this is the young kids area. One of the things we noticed is the lack of playground mulch, and that's kind of throughout the entire, it's like a consistent thing throughout.
I don't know if you can see on that picture that white tag on the bottom of that pole is actually a little notice that says this is where the mulch should be. So it's a good 6 to 8 inches under where it should be right now.
This is the swing set. The one on the left is, it's all like ripped and it's really high off the ground. And the one on the left, the swing's just missing. I'm not sure if kids took it off or what. And then, it's like we said, it's just really high off the ground. So it's hard to get them in and out. And the kids are a little scared of being up that high. my 2-year-old gets a little nervous. Again, just more pictures of the conditions. The twisted slide on the left, the bottom left there, if you go up top, which I probably shouldn't be going up top, but my 2-year-old needed me to go up there. So I had to rescue him. And I noticed it was like really wobbly, but it was before John said they re-welded the bottom
They did.
area. And
Yeah.
it seems to be a lot better.
Okay, good.
But just as part of that, I think we could shore up the bottom a little bit, maybe pour a little bit more concrete or something like that. But, it's all stuff that we could take care of. The picture on the bottom right is, again, that mulch line, and it's a good foot low. It's just, some of it's pretty high up, and I just concerned if somebody falls or whatever.
I know one of the residents who had come to meet us with John, she's in daycare, and she had said that she can't take her daycare kids here because it doesn't actually meet the state guidelines for basically play structures for childcare. So if daycare can't take their kids there, it's not really all that safe for anyone.
So kind of a revitalization plan. I do engineering work, so I went out and did some volume calcs of the mulch that would be required to bring it up to close to code, or just to give it about 8 inches of padding from where it is now. It would be about 90. It was 98, but when I talked to Tim's, I went to Tim's Turf and got pricing. He said that a truckload is 90 yards. So they could bring a truckload right there and wouldn't need to charge us anything because they wouldn't have to handle it, and they could push it right out right there and get a whole mess of parents to spread it out. And he would give it to us at cost, which is $26 a yard, which would be a total of $2,340.
That's the actual play, because I know there's a specific playground mulch that has.
Yep. Yeah, that's the specific playground mulch coming directly from them. And Tim actually even he actually told me that he would talk to the supplier and see if he could even do any better.
Right.
Which is great. So the second thing is to replace the missing swings or possibly upgrade to a new swing, including an ADA compliant swing. I know one of the parents that chimed in, they have a daughter in a wheelchair. They don't have anywhere to bring her. So they would love it if we could, we're completely willing to fundraise for this stuff. It's just a matter of, what you think we need to do and whatnot. There's no benches out there. So we were thinking maybe we could put a few benches out there for people to sit while their kids are playing, repaint any rusted equipment, and possibly add some new equipment. I have some future slides that will show some of the equipment that
we've
Rachel's
quoted,
looked at and quoted. As well as there's those large concrete slabs out there. So one of the suggestions was that we paint like Foursquare or some other hopscotch or whatever on those, and just kind of make them useful. So
this is one of the, so actually I had gotten the company that had put the original equipment in. So it is quotes from the same manufacturer. Miracle Playground is what they're called. This is the 3-bay swing which is about 35 feet wide. We can put the inclusive swings on this as well. I think maybe the next slide is also the 2-bay. So it's kind of like maybe one or the other. This one is actually currently on sale, I've been told. So it's a matter of how many regular swings we want versus how many ADA swings that we'd like to put in there. This one's a little shorter. It's only 24 feet. And then there's 2 areas in the playground where either one of these could probably fit in. One of the questions I know was how far into the ropes course area we can go. I don't know if that's part of the playground really or not, or how much land we can kind of use in there. There is one big area kind of towards the Tots swing that's 35 feet between 2 of the trees. So that larger one could fit in there if we wanted to do a 3-bay swing. But obviously it would be more expensive. And then we would need to get 2 of these to replace the current Tot swings that are there, the one swing that's there and the one that's missing. And these are the inclusive seats. And they're $1,000 each. So it's a matter of if we wanted to get just one of them or 2 of them. I know that the resident that had mentioned, actually there was a couple that had mentioned more inclusivity in the playground. There is a specific wheelchair type swing that actually can fit the wheelchair in it. And that Miracle didn't have those swings. So that's something that if we did want to look into, it would have to be quoted by someone else. But this is one of their inclusive swings otherwise. This is also an inclusive slide, the avalanche slide. I think it's basically so that you're allowing the children to kind of climb up the side, and they can, if you're in a wheelchair, they can be placed on it easier. The only issue with this one is that there's no free platform at the moment for a slide. So if we did put this in, it would have to replace one of the slides in there. And I believe that would probably be the shorter double slide. I think that this one could replace that one if we did want to update it. The other thing that residents had mentioned was that there wasn't a lot of big climbing equipment for bigger kids. I quoted 2 different types. This one is the Geodisc, and the only drawback to this one that I saw was that it's not in ground. And I know that we had heard that there was some issues with things being moved around the playground, and that things that aren't nailed down kind of, yeah.
18 foot.
I mean, I would hope that it wouldn't move, but you never know. I mean, if lots of picnic tables are being moved, this might be, but in any case, so that was the cheaper option. And then the second option for a climber was, and this is one of the possible locations for either the swings or the climbers, essentially. This is the big space kind of before you're getting into the playground by the field. And that is, so that is kind of in front of those slabs. I think that's one of those trees where the 35 feet is. It's right next to the playground. And again, that's either, swings or one of the climbers could go there.
Yeah, I didn't have the other climber.
Oh, really?
So
there's a
okay. Yeah.
Well, I have.
We collaborated at the last minute.
Last minute, we combined.
This?
We both did our own
Actually,
PowerPoints. If you do you have the
do.
email, that might be easier. Either that or I do have the.
Is it like a wall climber? Or not?
It's not a wall climber. It's actually I don't know if you've been to Benson's playground.
Not recently.
It's a big. It's called the Webscape. Essentially, it's like a little spider web type thing. I guess it's like a netting. Okay, so yeah, this was and part of this. So this is part of the combination. This was my bullet points here. One of the other things that we were going to do is there was a rusted platform that we were going to replace. Because I know there was a few rusted areas here and there on the playground that obviously we don't want to have cutting anyone. And then the other part of this bullet point, actually, if you want to go back one, because the benches I didn't have a picture of, but they are $389 each. And I have a picture of where we could put one. The other part was shipping would be extra in all of these prices, because obviously it's a matter of what we're deciding to get, and then shipped from, I think it's Minnesota or something. Unfortunately, they're kind of far away, but okay. So now we can go to, okay. So that's actually, where the 35 feet is for the large, well, either swing set could go there. And then this one is towards the ropes course, and that one is 27 feet. So I didn't know if part of that area is also a nice flat area for the geoclimber or the webscape or some of the other equipment that we have quoted in here.
So back to that previous one with 27 feet.
Yeah.
How far beyond that does the ropes course start?
So that those trees are actually the road. There is something above that.
That's where they have the pipes to
Platforms?
go up.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is a platform above that.
So I don't think, because we wouldn't be able to put anything underneath that, because basically it's supposed to be a safety thing in case they do.
And because they fall, yeah. So, that's kind of, I was wondering that. So I didn't know if there was nothing above it, like further in, if that was also a possibility or not,
The
or
ropes course basically then runs throughout.
throughout it. Okay.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of room too, if we were to take down the old swing set and just replace that.
Yeah. And that's
then
also a
there's,
possibility
like,
too.
a
Yeah.
huge area there.
Yeah, those, I mean, this space.
Well, I would say, and
towards
where the
pond
slabs
too,
are,
Yeah.
right there.
those slabs really, I mean, those are there from the camp.
That, and the other possibility would be to, get those out of there. I mean, they're
Just
kind
create a lot
of
more
not doing
room.
much.
Instead of
We
trying
said hopscotch just to see if there was,
Something, yeah.
either that or we can remove them entirely would be ideal to put something in for sure, because that's a very big space that's not utilized for anything really. So okay, so this is the
Okay.
webscape.
Yep.
And this is one where they have multiple sizes. This is kind of the middle size. So there is a smaller one available. I am waiting to hear to get the specs on how big the footprint actually is for it. But it is a pretty popular item at Benson's. I know a bunch of the residents had mentioned that that's something that they were very interested in for their older kids. So obviously this might be something that we would have to fundraise for because it's a little steep, essentially. I don't know if there's any other. Oh, yes, actually, there's a bunch of other things that we quoted here.
I dropped the ball.
Oh, that's all right. I'm glad I brought it anyways. So that was just another angle for
open
that big
areas.
space. Yeah, those are those. Okay. So this is one of the kind of equipments that we've been looking to add a spring rider. Additionally, there's not a lot of things for balance in the playground. So I was kind of looking at what, because it's usually climbing, balance, slides, things like that. So we don't have a lot of balance things. This is kind of just one of those fun things that kids love. So I had that quoted. And this one is a balance item. It's just a little spring called a surfer. A balance beam, pretty simple. This one is kind of, someone had mentioned a teeter-totter. This can be used either by a single kid or a multiple kid. So I thought it was a little bit more efficient, I guess, in the sense of play. I think it also spins. And then a log roll, which is something that we haven't seen in playgrounds around. So I thought maybe something that other playgrounds don't have. So people would actually want. Do they? Yeah. Oh, I've never been to that playground. So, well, in any case. And then this was another area that either the spring riders or something could go into. This is the back side of the Typhoon slide, which is the one that's the twisty slide. It's called the Typhoon slide. And I think that might have been, is that all of them? Oh, and that was where the bench would go, or one of the possibilities of benches. This is looking out towards the field. If you were like right in the middle of the playground, there's a nice little area surrounded by trees. It kind of looked like a nice place to put an in-ground bench is also what I had quoted so that it doesn't move anywhere. And then this last slide is just kind of a breakdown of everything that I had quoted. The numbers on the right here, the 7,000 would be, those are kind of the top priorities on the top are the swings, the bench, the mulch. And the 7,000 is if we got the 3-bay swing, and the 5,000 is if we got all of those with the 2-bay swing, which is on sale at the moment. So I know when we talked to John, he had mentioned that there was some funds slated for swings at the moment. And he mentioned that there might have been something else for additional funds, but we weren't sure what exactly was available and how much we might need to additionally fundraise for. So that's kind of where we're at now.
I mean, basically funding is a couple of options. I mean, fundraising obviously is a great option. Anything we want to add to our budget, I think is possible, but usually what will happen is if we have a large expenditure like this, they're just going to want us to put it in as a warrant article, which we could do. And then, basically the town could say, yeah, let's raise, let's say it's $21,000 for the whole kit and caboodle. The problem is if it's voted no, then we can't use any funds to do it because it's the no means no law. So that's kind of the drawback of that. But I mean, obviously we wouldn't be able to do most of it anyway if we didn't have the warrant article approved. I don't know what John was mentioning as far as, I didn't know there was money budgeted for a slide.
If there's money set aside for, and I believe that is correct, that there's money set aside for
Maintenance and repair for the park.
and swing sets. Now, I'm not sure if it was to be down at the new fields on Jeff Lane,
It might have been.
or if it's just we're allowed to improve our infrastructure. And first of all, this is great. This is long overdue. I mean, it's wonderful that it's being used because it is a great field and a great view. And to have the pavilion there and the fields there and the pond there, and now, I mean, to get a updated swing set or playground would be wonderful. The swing sets have been a disaster for years, so I think that's something that should be a priority for us. Now, whether it's at Dara or at Jeff Lane, if we have funds set aside for swing sets, could we improve the swing sets and then whether they decide to do the warrant article or fundraise, but could we at least take care of the swing sets? Is that a possibility? If
Yeah, I
it's
mean, I don't know
budgeted?
it would all depend on what we have.
Right, what's been set aside.
I mean, I would say, yeah, we need to just sort of look at it, see what we've got, see what we need to raise.
Mhm.
And I think
Now-
it's too bad Kurt's not here because the other thing popped into my head is, he's been teetering back and forth about trying to do something about because right now what we're going to be doing up at Jeff Lane is taking that small play area and we're going to move it over to the field area. So that way they're not across, so that if you're watching a baseball game, your kids aren't across the street playing on the playground.
Sure.
But he's like, that's kind of going to be a pain, moving it. It's already cemented in. So that might be something we might be able to push him and say, hey, if you want to go with fundraising and get a new playground equipment for up there, we can kind of take like the platforms and things that they have there and maybe attach that slide, the inclusive slide that you're talking about. Now we've got another platform for that slide.
Mhm.
We can actually add it somewhere else. So we might be able to be, sort of recycle some of that equipment, expand what we have here.
But what about the mulch too? If we're not compliant, should we be, as a town, compliant for a playground that we're offering?
Yeah, I mean, what happened to that huge pile that the town put down? Because that was spread out at one point, but I think obviously that was not enough.
I just think I may be in the minority here. I just think it's time for us to we've done such great work in all of our other parks and rec areas. I think, and this, as far as I know, this has been the same playground since I've been in town. I mean, is it 17 plus years old now?
Well,
One of the parents said it was 2000.
2001 was
Yeah.
when it was.
Okay, so 17.
Yeah, it hasn't
well,
been.
the
a-
hurricane, was it say the hurricane slide? Is that
the typhoon slide, yeah.
slide? The typhoon slide is quasi new.
Quasi new, yes, because they did.
Because when my daughter was playing softball there, we came down one day and it was burnt to a crisp as they had poured gasoline down it and lit it on fire.
Gosh. Wow.
So
Thanks.
I think that was one of the last things that Mr. Seymour did was he actually found a playground that was getting rid of that slide and bought it for, I don't know how much, or he stole it. I don't know.
But if
I
we
know
got
it.
it,
somehow.
but if we have a group of motivated parents, which sounds like we do,
Yep.
which is wonderful, and they're motivated to fundraise, can we at least assist them in the I don't know. Your fundraising idea, have you decided?
We haven't gotten that far yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, just kind
But
of
we
figuring
do-
out
we-
what,
we
you know,
have
the
made-
town would do,
yeah.
what the rec committee could do, if anything, and
Right now,
you
we
know,
do
and
have
then
a
present it to the parents.
a
You know,
Facebook group that has kind of branched off from the Litchfield What's Up page, and it's about 50 members right now of people interested in, community building through it and
Great.
and
Usually how
raising
things get
funds or
done
whatever needs
best.
to. Yeah.
Yes.
So first of all, thank you for taking the initiative to do this. I think you'll find a lot of support in town for these type of things because they'll get a lot of use, something visible people will see, and it's really accessible. I particularly like bringing the voice of creating an equitable space for all people to be able to use it. I think that's something that we should be doing and wouldn't be a heavy lift. So I'm glad to have that part of this conversation. So thank you for bringing that in.
Yeah.
I think your priorities are well on track there with the things that you've identified for that. I think your point about, town being responsible for the mulch piece around safety and compliance, there's some things in here, I think, and even the broken swing, those may be some things we should be looking to in our existing funds. Those are more urgent and there's a reason for the town to address those more acutely. And then maybe some of the other things. So I think maybe even this year's budget, I don't know where we are, but if there's something that
Yeah,
could
so I'm
address
not
that.
sure. What we can do is look at where our budget is with the current year. I think, mulch, number one, and the replacement of the swings would be two. And then the rusted platform, those three would definitely be priority 1, 2, 3. The bench, the other thing I was thinking too, is that might be something that we could talk to Campbell High. Because I know that they, a series of the benches that are along the bike path were constructed by students at Campbell High School. So that might be something we might be able to talk to them about doing something similar down there.
Sure. As long as we can sit.
Yeah, I know. It's nice.
I'm usually chasing.
Yeah, right. That's true. That's true. For the 5 seconds we can sit anyways.
And because one of the other things that has been on my plate that I haven't been able to get to, there's the new basketball courts.
Mhm.
We're going to actually put a wood railing there to keep so vehicles don't go. But I was talking to Mr. Schaefer and talking about saying, well, when we do that, we should do it. We can do it on the other side too, just to keep vehicles from going into the play area as well.
Right.
Basically make an area where you could open up that so that if we were to bring mulch in or bring, you have to drive in there to bring equipment or do, but just to make it more of because people do go up and down there in the cars. I don't know how the gate's like this far open, and I saw a car down there the other day. I don't know how they got it in there.
They got a car in there?
I've seen a couple down.
I've seen there too. Yeah, at the
gate.
I
pond,
saw
yeah.
one, but is there an access way on the other side of the basketball course? Because there was a red truck parked over by the ropes course over there. The low ropes course, the ground ropes.
Oh, that was probably Coach K.
Oh, okay.
He might have gotten a key or a combination from somebody because
Oh, okay.
he goes in there and does
So how did they
maintenance on
get
it.
in there?
There is a gate if you go in the parking lot to the far right.
Mhm.
There is a gate down there that goes behind Dara, but that's locked. It should be locked.
Yeah, I've never even checked.
You kind of drive over woods.
No,
It's not
it's,
cleared, is it?
yeah, there's brush, but you can drive through it. It's like gravel.
Question just in general is I haven't been down to Corning in a while. Is the dome's not there
Gone.
anymore, right? Yeah.
gone.
So the geoclimber is probably one of those things that you probably aren't going to go with. We shouldn't go with because there used to be one down at Corning, and someone fell on his head. Right? Isn't that what happened? And then that became a bigger issue, and then it was taken out of there for safety reasons because kids go in there and hang upside down, and then someone comes down, and then
Well, it was actually constantly called the Dome of Death.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So that was kind of like, well, we need to get, why are you getting rid of the Dome of Death? Well, just think about the name.
Sure.
But that's just going back in history because
Right.
it's one of those things where, again, it was around, that's back when, 10 years ago when my kids were down there, it was there, and then it was a couple of years after that. So we're talking 8 years ago where
Right.
all those stories were coming out and we had to get it taken out of there. So I don't know. I know people want to climber, and maybe that's a better idea, a better path to go with the webscape, even though it's more money, because the geoclimber, someone's going to go back and reference the Dome of Death.
Yeah. I think that most people would be leaning towards the webscape
Right.
anyways, realistically. So that does make sense.
So Andy, I'm sorry, you mentioned three things. You mentioned the mulch, the swings. What was the third thing you said was top of the
The
list?
rusted platform, if there's the platform,
Getting rid of the platform?
or replacing it. If there is a rusted
Yeah,
platform.
there's a rusted platform.
Oh, okay.
We
okay.
wanna, if it's,
All right.
I mean, if it's, is it rusted through or just rust?
It's just rust. Yeah, there's
Okay.
like a 8 to 9 inch circle of rust on it. It's not, so it would just need to be replaced. I asked if they could get it recoated simply, but they said it's more like a replaceable thing than a recoating.
Oh, we'll take a look. I mean, that might, if it's just surface rust,
Yeah,
that can be sanded down and painted.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because usually if you take those things apart, they just never,
Yeah. Never the right way.
Well, the company wants you to buy a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, those, I mean, and Andy's right. Those three are more maintenance than anything else. So those are
Yeah,
are
it's,
things.
well,
And
I
then
mean,
if there is money for swings somewhere,
we need swings.
that's the next thing. I mean, but you know, I mean, I think the top three definitely fall more into maintenance,
Sure.
right.
and it's something we need to look at in terms for safety issues and everything else, just to upkeep what's there.
And I think I mean, honestly, I think the fourth thing on that list might be talking to Jack or somebody. Those slabs, I think
Get rid of
need to
them.
go,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Break them out.
and just get rid of them.
Because one thing I did notice too, there is some metal poking out from them. Also,
They used
they're
to
not
have that. they used to
perfectly
have
flat.
that, frog.
Yeah.
They used to have some sort of.
Oh, they would
spring.
have that the
Yeah.
bouncer
That was
thing.
next
Oh.
to it.
That was next to it? I
Yeah.
know one of the slabs had was it on the ground?
Yeah.
That was just in the mulch?
Yeah.
Okay.
But those used to have huts on them, and there was probably a conduit for, I believe some of them had electricity at one point.
Oh.
So that's probably what it was. So
So should we check with John to see how much we have left in the budget?
I would say, let's see what we have to work with money wise. See what we can talk to, because we do have our budget coming up for review for the current, and sort of investigate and talk to the budget committee. Is this something we can add into our proposed budget? Is it something we need to go to warrant article? And then what we can target for fundraising.
Okay.
So maybe sort of put a plan together. Because I'm assuming these costs though are just for the equipment. There would be additional costs for
Shipping,
installation.
installation.
With
If
the
if we needed a
footings.
rep, it's obviously we do a community building for most of it because a lot of people were interested in helping out with that, so we could get a rep. The other thing would be for like the webscape and any of the kind of freestanding items is we would need more mulch also for those. But
I mean, that would probably be next year, because I mean,
sure.
whatever we do this year, it's something that if we almost need to add into our budget and specifically just have a mulch line and just say every year we need 40 yards, 60 yards, whatever, maybe, 2 clean inches on every playground every year, just to, because you're going to get that.
Maintain it, yeah. It's been a while.
Guys, question about the warrant article process. So for some of the larger ticket items or maybe the wish list items further down, if it goes to warrant and fails, does that mean we can't do it because of money? Or do we also say, no, the town doesn't want that as a policy?
No,
so
we can't
even
do it.
fundraise.
We can't do it because it's the law.
Right.
But I'm saying,
It's not the money. It's if we say we want to get the webscape and we're putting a warrant article in for the webscape and the town says no, but all of a sudden we find $14,000 in our budget, we're not allowed to do it because it's a no means of no. So we cannot use town funds to do that.
I think
Would
he
be
was
able-
asking what if
would be
you
able to fundraise.
If somebody fundraised and did it,
Yeah.
that might be, we have to find out. Right.
so
The town would have to accept the donation and then use the money and then not.
I mean, you could probably put a web scope out there. It's not exactly the same thing.
Change the different name of it.
I mean, try not to go warrant our. I mean, I think there's enough people that we could fundraise for
Yeah.
and actually.
I think honestly, the way this town works, fundraising actually ends up working better than.
It's
warrant
quicker
articles.
too, because I mean,
I
you,
mean-
you wouldn't know until the elections. And then, the other thing with this is anything that we purchase of that magnitude, we have to go through a process. We would actually have to go out for public bid. And there'd be a whole process behind that. So the smaller items, I don't think they're all below what we would need for a competitive bid, I believe. But the town still wants us, like for the mulch. I know Tim's Turf is probably going to give us a great deal, but we'd need to go to 2 other vendors and say, how much, what can we get for 80 yards of playground mulch? Doesn't mean we have to go with the lowest bid. We can go with what we feel is the best qualified bid, or best qualified price. It might mean that we're paying $1 more a yard, but we know we're not going to have to pay a delivery fee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So I guess we can't really answer, come up with anything
Sure.
as far as an answer for you tonight. But this is great, a great start. And like I said, I'll contact John and find out and just email everybody and say, this is what
Yeah,
we
find out
have
how much
for.
is left in the budget. Now, you measured obviously between the 3-bay or the 2-bay swings. If you did the 3-bay, is that the one that could have the all-inclusive, the inclusive, I'm
Well,
sorry?
they both
They
could.
both
So it's
could?
more a matter of how many regular swings we'd want versus how many ADA swings we'd want. So, if we want to get 2 of the inclusive swings, then, a 3-bay might be nice. So we have 4 other swings left over, unless we think 2 swings is a good amount to have. So it's kind of more.
Well, and also if we leave the current swing, the structure there for those 2 swings, we could probably put an inclusive swing.
Yeah.
And
And put the
have-
top swings on the, yeah.
and
I mean,
have the
it's-
pots have, just we can move them around.
Yeah, especially because this is all the same company of equipment. They all are kind of interchangeable. So
Oh, the top
What
swings
is-
might be low. The bar might be low.
I don't know if it's just a 1-bay swing. I'd have to look at their equipment and see if I don't think it's tot specific. I think it's just their 1-bay swing.
And the ADA,
Mhm.
is that the inclusive?
Yes,
swing? It
yeah.
is. Okay, so that was how, $1,200? Is that what it was?
1,000.
1,000.
Each. Yeah. And like I said, there was the resident had mentioned a wheelchair specific swing, which this company doesn't offer. So that would be something that I could also look into to see what the price is for that. But
The other thing that we may want to look into, and I don't know if, is state funding. There
I
might be-
briefly
there may be
looked at
some
it. It's very
programs.
confusing. So
There may be some programs
Sure, yeah,
for,
thank you.
That's the.
Oh, okay, good.
especially if we're going to go with some
Yep.
ADA compliant.
So
Yeah.
Take out 2 bays maybe, or?
Yeah,
because that's one that you literally just wheel the chair right onto it, and
yep, that's good.
Which I think would probably be better simply because you don't have to worry about,
yeah.
one
Yeah.
person with somebody in a wheelchair. Well, I'm never going to be able to get you into.
That's good.
Yeah. Although this swing set has no mulch.
Yeah.
Now, and I guess that would be my other question with the mulch, and I guess it's for later. It's not for the ADA all-inclusive swing. It would be tough with a wheelchair on mulch. Does it have to be?
Yeah, that was kind of one of my concerns too. I don't know how
I'm
you
not
would
sure.
do that.
I don't know if you have to
Maybe-
get like that rubber surface instead of mulch to lead up to it because you need something.
Yeah, I'd have to talk to the parent because
Yeah.
I assume there's some protocol. On
Right.
That, I don't have any experience with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if that kicks you into any sort of ADA compliance throughout the entire place, parking lot, et cetera. I don't know. Maybe something that would have to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a motion. So I'll make a motion to approve the spending up to what we have left in park maintenance funds to go towards priority number 1, 2, or 3, whatever, however far that money will go for the current fiscal year.
I'll second.
Okay, so we'll have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So just to confirm, those three are the mulch, replacing the broken swing, and the rust. Is that
Yes. So the priority would be mulch first, swing second, and the platform third, because I think that's something that we can probably do fairly inexpensively.
Sure.
But just sort of see how much of that can we cover now
Right.
with what we have in existing funds, and maybe try and get that done while we have you guys involved and volunteers sort of all enthusiastic. We can get that out there and at least make it
Right, because we'd want to
Safe at
spend
the
that for the end of the year, correct?
Right.
Right, so,
And we want to get it out there now before, now the fall's coming and,
Right.
The summer that kind of dies off when it's really hot out,
Right.
although it's shady, it's nice. But in the fall, it gets a lot more use.
so
And we're going
Potentially,
to
if
have
we-
Christmas over there, right?
what's that?
Like that Christmas festival. down
Yeah,
at the park
Christmas,
too.
exactly. So if you speak to John, we're back to 2 meetings a month now.
Mhm.
So we could potentially have an answer for the next meeting?
Well, if we vote on it now,
Yep. Whatever's left in the budget?
if we'll say, hey, we've got, so I'm going to say up to, so if you can just throw those numbers back up.
That last slide.
The question about the budget, we're talking about using whatever's left, whatever's remaining in that portion of the budget to do this. The budget has to last us through June 30th, right? Our fiscal year is July through June, which means if
No.
something it's not?
No, I think
Well,
we're
then why are
still,
we writing it up? Right, it has to be, I thought it was,
so it has to be voted, it's voted on in March, but it actually goes January 1st through,
January 1st through December 31st.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there was talk about changing it to a fiscal July 1st through June 30th, but I don't think that ever happened, as far as I know.
School contract.
Doesn't want to cooperate.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to remember the number. So it was like 2,300 for the mulch
Yes. Yep. There we
and
go.
so I'll say up to $3,500 of funds, because that would cover the top 3. So up to $3,500 of any existing available funds in that budget line. He's gonna have fun typing that one.
But I would like to modify that to say maybe up to 5,000.
Well, I think our budget line was 3,500.
Oh, is it only 30? Oh, okay, all right.
The one thing that's not
Oh, no, it
factored
should
in
be
here would be the
500.
shipping costs for the swings. So that's the only additional, which shouldn't, I imagine, be too much, but that is not factored into this.
Okay, so I'll amend it to up to
5,500.
5,500, which is the line item. I don't know how much of the maintenance we've used.
Correct.
at this
I don't
point,
think we've
but-
done much though, for the playground area.
Well, it's not just the play, I mean, it's any maintenance
It's
for
any
anything.
maintenance for, okay,
So if a fence breaks, if something
Right.
else, that's what those funds are for. And I don't know if, any repairs to the sprinklers,
Mhm.
pumps, all that stuff
Okay.
falls into that. So,
okay, so we have a motion on the table.
and a second, any further discussion? So the amount is up to $5,500 of existing money in that line item.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, opposed, no, abstained, so it carries 400. So I will talk to John, we'll get an answer from Town Hall, and we'll, again, with the mulch at that amount, we will probably have to get 3 competitive bids. Well, not bids, but we have to get pricing from 3 competitors, just to make sure, that we're doing our due diligence on it, and we can probably get that some, if
And
we
it's
have-
90 yards, right?
Yeah.
Right, not 80 that you spec'd out.
And
You actually spec'd out
What I
96.
spec'd out, which is a truckload
Right.
essentially.
did that include the top
Right.
swing area too? Was that, or just the main structure for the 90 yards?
That was the structure, the play area too. I have a sketch of it in my bag.
Okay.
I sketched it all out so I
Okay.
can figure it out. So
show you.
So
So, do you need a quote specific for me for just the tot swings and the shipping from that?
yeah, when we're going forward, we'll need specific quotes for each.
Yeah,
item.
because they're all kind of combined into multiple ones, so I
Yeah.
can separate it out into.
And then, because none of the top priorities would involve any type of contractor or installation as far as, it's nothing, it's spreading out mulch, painting a panel or the platform, and just hooking up the swings. So it's not, if we get to the 3-bay swings, 2-bay swings, we've got to investigate, okay, that's probably not a parent volunteer thing. We probably want to have somebody that's an authorized
Qualified.
installer.
Right, yeah.
Because we don't want to say, well,
Just
now,
throw 'em in,
this is, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the right height. It's not,
Your
it's not,
insurance company will appreciate that.
so.
Okay, so I guess my question, it's just, I know, do we want to do something for the 25th, the next meeting, or just leave it that we'll get back to you? We don't have your contact info or anything like that, so.
If you guys can email us, I think John has your contact.
I've been speaking to
John's-
John.
okay,
Yeah.
great.
But just email rc@litchfieldnewhampshire.gov, and that'll go to all of us.
I actually did about the splash pad already.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, all right. We must have, we have.
Yeah,
that
you do
email
have
now.
that one, anyways.
That, but I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I know Marissa Fluitt did.
I spoke with her actually.
Okay.
And so she had said, she looked at a little bit about it. I think the big question right now would be where and how, because we need to know how big it was. And it's in the range of 100,000 to 120,000 would be kind of, or at the very low end with a freshwater system is about 30,000 for the splash pad. But I hadn't gotten into it enough yet. I was kind of focused on this part of it so far, but
That would be a nice
Yes.
caveat. And also if you guys could come up with an idea of, like you said, you started sketching something out, maybe we can come up with some type of plan for it, just to show this is, ideally this is where we would like these structures, so that
Sure.
we don't just start plopping things
Mhm.
and sort of say, okay, well, this is hopefully the future site for this, the future site for this. And that way we'll make sure everything pieces together instead of saying, oh, well, now we've got to pick this up and move it because it doesn't have not enough room for this piece.
Yeah,
of
that's a great idea.
Mhm.
And if any, I know there's a lot of trees in there too,
Yeah,
big trees, and I don't know if anything needs to be. I know John went through, and I think they were planning on
Yeah.
taking down the
The
ones
dead
that were
ones,
dead.
yeah.
So are those gone now?
I believe so.
I think that's a great idea if you could spec it out.
Yep.
So we'd know if anything needs to be
Yeah.
removed.
Particularly if if we consider taking those slabs out,
Mhm.
that could be helpful too to
Yeah.
plan what might go there.
Great.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank you
much.
very
much.
This is
Thank
really
you.
exciting.
Oh, no problem. And are you here for input or you just,
I just want the information.
oh, okay.
I'm all good.
All right, so we're done with public input, but they also took care of new business,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. Old business, tobacco policy, Board of Selectmen's next steps.
Yep. So I went to, I guess 2 weeks ago now, to the Board of Selectmen to tell them about our conversation around having a tobacco-free policy for not just parks, but wanted to see if they would consider for all town property, because that was kind of where we landed. That would make more sense just have a uniform policy town-wide. And they're very supportive of that. Just had some questions about, whether municipalities have done this type of thing. How did they roll it out? We could do some kind of public education first. Would they, start date, which I think makes a lot of good sense. Maybe look at the springtime as, when people go back outside, having that be kind of the time to have it start officially. But what could we do in the meantime? So they asked me some questions to come back to them with some examples of other towns in New Hampshire and how that might have rolled out. Did have one question to bring back to folks though. They asked a little bit about vaping.
I would include all that with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would make it,
Yeah, so not just the tobacco, right? So how would you, term it then? Is
The easiest thing to
that
do would be,
mandating?
I would look at the school, look at those schools and maybe surrounding, because they've already been dealing with it. I know at Pinkerton we've been dealing with it. I don't know how they've written the policy. But I mean, just look in the student handbook, and I'm sure it's in there, because they basically, you cannot have, they consider it drug paraphernalia.
Find it, yeah.
So, and that includes lighters, matches, anything of the sort. But I don't think we want to really put it out as drug paraphernalia, because then,
So all that.
yeah. So, I mean, it's a tobacco-free, drug-free zone.
So are we to come up with the policy, or will the selectmen come up with the policy?
I think they want something to respond to. So I offered to do some homework on this. So I think what I'd like to do is bring it back to this body first to make sure it makes sense, at least for our purposes. And then bring it to them with a recommendation. They can
Right.
take a
Because I
look.
mean, that would go for the town, this area, this facility, the incinerator, or no, incinerator recycling center, and all of our locations.
Right. Yep.
So,
That was just a follow up from there. So
Yeah.
I don't know if for the next meeting, but in the near future, I'll get back to this group with kind of what's the question. And there have been some other towns that have done this recently, so
Yeah.
that'll be good. We have some things to follow.
Okay. So they were receptive.
Yeah, they were very much receptive, and certainly one of the concerns that they really focused on was just the modeling for the kids and exposure to smoke or vape for kids. So they were supportive, but just want to make sure we do it with a diligent approach, which I think makes good sense.
all right. Facility and field requests, I don't think we have.
I know we have one from Rich LaSalle.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see that.
What's that?
I didn't see it. When did
So
he
that
send?
came in,
Yeah, it was,
came out on August 21st. So Rich is trying, he actually came to the booster meeting last night. He's doing an alumni. So at the high school, the 29th is the weekend of September 28th and 29th is homecoming. So the football game is September 29th at 7 p.m. Rich is looking to secure talent. I guess he has it from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. I'm assuming he's going to plan on decorating and stuff in there, but he wants to invite Campbell High alumni. He wants to start an alumni, I guess, group. So his thought was, okay, let's have an alumni event the weekend of homecoming. So he wanted to have a BYOB slot, I guess. The way he said it last night was only going to be from 5 to 7. I'm not sure if he thought it was going to be longer, but he said he already secured the detail. I guess my question would be insurance. I don't know what that falls under.
Yeah, he'd have to have an insurance binder.
You'd have to go get a binder.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he said it had been approved. So I didn't know if Rich talked to anybody.
I haven't seen it. We didn't, I don't.
No, I haven't
Unless you
either.
talked to John. I mean,
Right.
no one else approved it.
Yeah,
We, like,
nobody would be. I
The
mean,
Right.
emails, came out that day and there was no email discussion about it.
Okay, good. So he said last night it had been approved. So I wasn't sure if he spoke to
Because the
somebody.
request is for like 2 days and from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's truly, it's not that. After listening to him last night, I'm not even sure why it's starting at 11, unless the only thing I can think of is he's going to get in there and decorate.
right.
But he was talking about food. What the suggestion was made, because he doesn't know how many people are even going to show up. He doesn't have an RSVP idea. So he could say it could be 60, it could be 100.
But he's talking 3 weeks from now.
What's that?
We're talking 3 weeks
Yes.
from now.
Yeah. So he's doing it through Facebook. I guess he's contacting people through Facebook. Let's put it at 100 people at best if they showed up. But he's doing a BYOB, and we recommended to him last night to do. People want to bring their own food, similar to like how we hold any event.
Yeah.
If you want to eat, you bring your own food. So, but the window that he told us was going to be 5 to 7. like a little tailgating before going to the game at 7 o'clock. No, if these alumni decide to stay longer, I have no idea. So maybe
Right.
that's why, if they're chit chatting and they don't want to be outside. But
I mean, the whole
way
thing
Rich
is he
said
would
it-
have to, the insurance binder is going to be the issue because he's not an organized group.
no. Now, I don't know if he would, I guess potentially I could put him under the boosters.
You know, you're taking a huge liability.
With,
I mean, it's, you're going to have kids that are 18.
oh, no, it's not eight. No, it's not 18. As far as I know, it's supposed to
Well, I
be
mean, alumni.
21 and above. And I'll confirm that with him.
But I mean, what about the kids that graduated last year, the year before, and the year before that? If they're 18, 19,
I don't think
20?
I don't believe they're coming. I don't think they've been invited. I'll confirm that with him. The way he made it sound, it was BYOB and it was all 21 plus.
But it was any alumni.
I don't know if he reached out to, I don't think Rich reached out to last year's alumni or even the last couple. I will confirm that.
Okay.
He didn't, the way he described it last evening, it's 21 plus.
Right.
Right. He didn't say it was,
I mean,
that it was,
I don't know. Do we have enough information to vote on this tonight?
yeah, and he said it was approved. So we made the, tell him.
Looking at it, looks like it needs to be an amended request.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we can
'cause it's a
clear
full
what the
day.
time is.
Right.
Because, yeah, that's the whole weekend, right?
Right.
11 OTAs.
And I mean,
And telling me he needs a separate insurance binder unless you're willing to take him under. But I think, what we should.
And we'll have to tell him, yeah, yeah.
I mean, we probably won't be able to give him
Well,
an answer.
he's
till the next-
obviously at the
Right.
voting right tonight, so that's why he's probably not here.
But we'd probably have to wait until the next meeting
Yeah.
until we give him an answer.
But that's the 25th.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
because
I don't know how he secured the detail. He said he has the detail. It's been approved. So
all the details been approved.
he said everything had been approved. He's like, everything's approved. So that's why he was coming to us last night about food. So I'll confirm with Rich that it's 21 plus. Otherwise, and like you said, the insurance, then that's
Well, I
going to
mean,
be,
the whole thing is he's going to have to come to the
He's
next
gonna
meeting because I mean, we're not going to be able to make a decision until the next meeting anyway.
Okay.
But I would say the concerns would be: is it 21 plus? If it's going to be a BYOB, insurance binder, the detail. We just need proof from the police that
Yep.
there is going to be a detail. I mean, we can give pickleball the heads up that there's probably an event that's coming in that day if we know exactly what the day is. But then again, we're not going to be able to give him a definitive yes or no until the 25th. And if he's advertising it, I don't know.
yeah.
I think it's the best we can do. I think we can hold the time for him. Say, hey,
Yeah.
we're holding this for you. This is what you need to do to
Right.
make sure it happens. And we should be able
Right, we
to do
can,
that.
right, I guess that's what we could do is alert pickleball to the potential of an event happening.
Mhm.
Hold that slot.
Well, I mean, I think it's more along the lines of what Peter's saying is we vote on and say, dependent on, dependent on these conditions being satisfied, you have this time. We just tell people, we don't say, we can't go to pickleball and be wishy-washy about it and say, we may have an event coming in, we may not on that date. We'll let you know 4 days beforehand whether you should be
Okay.
canceling or not.
Great.
We say, we just say, we need it for that date. And if it's
Right,
empty
but we
that
don't know
date,
what the date is specifically.
No, it's definitely 29th. I know
so
the
it's
29th. the
he
Saturday
wrote down two
football game.
dates. He wrote down 2 dates and then he's only checked off Saturday.
Yeah,
So
it's Saturday.
my guess is it's only Saturday.
Guys, it's only Saturday. It's the football game. It's tailgating before the football game. The
Okay.
football game Saturday night at 7. He wants to secure talent to have this alumni event so they can all then walk over and watch the game.
Mhm.
So it's definitely Saturday.
Okay.
So,
All right, I'll make a motion. I make a motion to approve Rich's request contingent on, one, we have a specific timeframe
Yep.
on the request. Two, we have proof of the detail.
Yep.
And we must have an insurance binder in hand, I would say by at least a week prior to the event.
Okay, yeah, so,
That way it's,
when we meet on the 25th.
if we don't have the
right.
binder by the 25th, we're going to say, nope, sorry.
Yeah.
I think those are really the only contingencies,
Right.
right? So that would be my motion.
So, unless he's watching, Rich.
Do we have, do we have a second?
Also,
Oh, second?
So we have a motion and a second discussion on the motion on the contingent approval of the event.
No, I guess should I contact him?
well, I think you probably should, because
He's not gonna know about these
if
things.
and if he needs to work through a binder,
Right.
you're probably gonna have to talk to him anyway. So
Right.
I think it just makes the most sense.
And
In that
for
regard.
confirmation from the chief, even if the chief just emails us, yes, he's got a detail set for that night.
Yeah, I mean,
That'd be
yeah.
good.
It should be easy enough to just,
And then confirm on the application that he sent exactly what day.
correct.
And then, and also confirming that it's 21 and
Yeah.
older.
Yeah.
All right. So any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Abstain? All
I
right.
apologize, we voted, who wants to contact pickleball? Should I contact pickleball as well?
Yeah, if you want, just let them know there is an event.
There's an
there.
event, yep.
And then
I
if it
just gotta
gets
get-
canceled, we'll say it got canceled.
Right. Just need to get,
And I gotta update I think their Monday, Wednesday, Friday fell off because
because I looked, and at that point, I was in work and I didn't see it until much later.
But I went back and I was like, wow,
They
that's
weren't
weird. that
there
they
on
had
Monday.
But I went back 3 weeks ago because when I set it up, probably like 2 years ago, it keeps asking for an expiration date.
Okay.
So it must have expired.
So what Andy's talking about, soccer reached out to us the night, I think it was Sunday, about
Right.
holding a practice inside Talent.
On Monday.
I didn't see it, and then I got pinged on it.
Well, my question was, and I wanted to bring it up tonight, is should they be requesting it? Should the soccer coaches of
Actually,
middle
the
school
coaches shouldn't
request
be.
it?
It
It
should
should
be
be
the
the
athletic
AD, right?
Right.
I mean, and that's the next, that was, and I didn't want to go back over email and say, actually, you shouldn't be requesting it, but
Well, you
This-
should have. You should.
this is
We're not gonna
this
know.
is an AD thing where
Right.
the AD needs a request.
Right.
Why
That's
wouldn't
what we
you?
do to the other groups. We don't let coaches from basketball
Correct.
request it.
Exactly.
gotta
It's
be
just
the
being
coordinator.
consistent.
But that's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? You should. We should.
Right.
We
We
should
could,
let her know. No,
Yeah.
you should have let her know.
at that point.
Yeah.
We
can just
need
follow.
to. We need to let people know where they're just going to make the same mistake again, and come back to us with another request.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, should have come through the ADs or
Yes.
whatever. No, it's good to know because I would have. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought to.
Because we just don't want, because technically, in order for them to be covered by the school's insurance, the athletic director has to know that it's happening.
Yep.
So like if a coach just does something without the athletic director's approval and a kid gets hurt, the school's not really liable. It's the coach that's liable. And of course, the coach is not going to be,
Right.
paying. It's going to come out of ours. So,
Okay, so if we see that request again or something similar,
Right.
it needs to go. They need to go back to the AD.
Right.
Um,
The other thing we got the request from Tabernacle to use Sawmill. We didn't vote on,
did it come out
that was the 23rd.
23rd? Oh, yep, there it is.
You know what I mean? And again, it's one of those, yeah, we're going to let them use it. This falls under things we've done in the past, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the middle school this year got it in at the beginning of August. I mean, we should let them know this stuff has to be in the beginning of August because we only have that one August meeting. You know what I mean? Just to know. I mean, we don't have the game. They didn't give us a game schedule this year. This year, they just said, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So even like today I was close to closing Sawmill this morning before it just stopped raining and therefore let up enough where if they had a game, I probably would have, that's one of those where you might have actually leaned towards closing it because a game's going to tear it up a lot more than a practice will. So, I mean, I don't know the game schedule. I just know that they're using it on 4 days of the week.
now is LMS still using DARA
Yes.
for games?
Yep.
But that field's not
But
big
they
enough for
canceled
them.
theirs, right? LMS boys canceled theirs today. I was surprised.
I think that was the middle. I think that was a school thing. It seemed like a lot of them. It seemed like a lot of schools canceled because of the potential thunderstorms that were supposed to be
But then
happening.
I saw the girls practicing up there at Dara. So I was surprised to see girls practicing at Dara, but the boys' game was canceled.
Yeah, I think
Well, games are-
what happened is I think the games were canceled in the morning because they're like there's potential thunderstorms. So I think they all canceled the games. Like I think Tri-County canceled games.
I did,
Does it
well, we
seem
didn't
like
get
all
the
of them?
announcement until 11:30. So I was
Right.
shocked to see such a late announcement when it was, anyhow. So it wasn't,
That's late.
late 11:30 for a 2 o'clock game. I thought that was,
I've seen the ones where they come out at like 1:45.
considering the weather looked beautiful and you looked at the extended forecast and it was beautiful for the
Right.
rest of the day. I'm like, why'd they cancel this thing?
Yeah.
Anyhow,
So,
All right, so do we want to?
so we don't know about his schedule.
what?
We don't know about,
We don't know the game schedule. We just know what he asked for.
And what are the times?
3 to 5, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
And does that conflict with any?
No,
and they've started, I assume.
they started at the end of August.
So do we want to vote on the approval? Or?
Yeah, so I make a motion to approve Tabernacle using Sawmill Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays from 3 to 5 from August 27th, I think it was, to October 19th.
All right, I'll second. Any discussion? And I would just put the caveat in there that he knows, in the past, he's got to get, if the weather looks inclement, he needs
Right.
to touch base. Do you want it to get him to be you?
It'll be me, yeah, and I'm going to be more proactive in terms of just canceling stuff when it's,
And just make sure that they understand if the field is closed, it's closed.
right.
And if they use it when the field is closed, then their usage will be
Mhm.
revoked, I guess. We need to maintain our fields and not have them destroyed. Any other discussion?
Not on that, nope.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Approved 400. All right. Any other?
Any word, I know there was correspondence back and forth between the men's pickup league at LMS. Have they come back to us? It was about obviously the insurance.
No, I think they went back,
Are they all set?
I think they went back to the school district like John told me.
Okay.
to.
We didn't see anything, yeah, just that
Didn't
it's,
see anything back, so we figure,
And basketball has not, I thought they were going to be here tonight at the meeting for
yeah.
the hoops.
did Mary Holly had that request that John had sent back that said there's a conflict for that day? We didn't hear anything back from her, did we?
What day?
The day after
Oh,
Thanksgiving?
yeah. No, we have not heard back from them.
Is it conflicted with the baseball fundraiser?
Oh, yeah, yeah. What was that event?
They were gonna do.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Fundraiser for the Dr. Andrea Ainge Memorial Scholarship Fund.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard back from them, so. Any other new business or old business or quasi current business? No? All right, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you can shut her down.
All right. So was she gonna resubmit